Hey, good morning, Drew. It is the 14th of January, 2024. It's great to see you. It's always great to talk to you. We're getting together again to discuss our latest book that we read, Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday. Another fantastic book that you and I have, done parallel reading on, and pretty excited about talking about the various topics that's inside of this book. And a lot of the material really resonated, with what I've experienced in my life, and some of the, the philosophy and principles. I think it brought some words to some things I've been doing in the past, or maybe that the Army has pushed me to do, and it's really neat to, be able to now think about it objectively in the way that Ryan Holiday put it in some really cool historical stories that resonated with me. Just for context, Ryan Holiday, and I need maybe this needs to be another book on our list that we read in the next couple months. But he wrote a book on Courage is Calling. That was the first of the four Stoic virtues that are out there, and so he wrote a book on that, Courage. This book is on temperance. Now, temperance is a word that really didn't resonate with me, and I'm like, what the heck is temperance? But by reading this book and understanding the definition, it's really discipline. How do you maintain that balance between, too little or too much, and doing the right types of actions, thinking, etc. in life, to become your best self. So that's the second virtue that he just wrote this book on. Now there's two other virtues out there, justice and wisdom. So I'm very interested in knowing what he's working on now, but I think the plan is he's going to write a book on each. So, hey, over to you. How are things going?
Well, man, happy frozen January 14th to you and everybody else. I went outside this morning to go to church, and it was a balmy 12 degrees. So that's pretty cold for up here in western Washington. I know you're dealing with something a little bit more frigid than that down there in Kansas, but yeah, I didn't like a total psychopath. Owen, chided me into going to working out with him yesterday, and oh man, literally, even on the run, freezing cold. And every
Oh yeah.
weight that we picked up and touched, even though it had double gloves, it sucked all the warmth out of my body, just touching every plate. And then, after church today, I felt like I brought a good message, and thinking he would say, yeah, it's only 12 degrees outside. Let's wait. And but he's like, I'll see you at 2:30. I was like, well,
Nice.
clearly I didn't preach hard enough in your direction. Uh, man, the Ryan Holiday series. I mean, this guy. I could just tell. I would love to tell Ryan Holiday that the history lessons that I'm getting in his books about, the Romans and the Stoics, and it's just making me want to go back to college and at least minor in history. Um, I love it. Yeah, we're clearly on the Ryan Holiday journey. We read Ego is the Enemy, Stillness is the Key. There was another one. There's a 3-book set. It was amazing. Everybody in prison wanted to read these books when they saw me reading them. And to this day, I don't even have those 3 books anymore because they've been passed around. So that's a credit to you, Mr. Holiday, that, even guys in prison. And I have the Daily Stoic, and I haven't read that in months either because some other prisoner is getting fed from it. So love this guy. Love the way he writes. You mentioned temperance just a minute ago, and I was just sitting here reading some of this book before this video kicked on, and he was talking about Antonius Aurelius, the emperor that preceded Marcus Aurelius. Much of Marcus's character, that is so famous. Marcus Aurelius with meditations and was this guy before him that really laid up, and he had temperance, and the historical lesson he has in about him, boy, I can feed my life on that for quite a while, just picking apart these character traits. And right now, I like that he said right here, quoting Cato, which I guess if we're talking about Cato the Younger, this guy was notorious for, just braving the elements, walking barefoot. Even though he came from this, like, prestigious family and background, he didn't have to. He chose suffering. And you and I just said, just a second ago, if you want to attain any level of greatness in your life, you better get comfortable being uncomfortable. And what I take that also to be is when my character wants to undercut me, when there's opportunities to do things that are less than the measure of the man that I'm aiming to become, choose what is more uncomfortable in that moment. I got a whole group of guys talking behind me, but can you hear me still?
Yep, you're good to go.
Yeah. So, love this book, man. I don't know if I made any significant points there, but tolerant of others, strict with yourself, really good stuff. All right, you got something to draw?
Yeah, well, I don't have anything to draw right now, but what I'd like to highlight is the Hercules, story before he became famous and became that, that strong god that was an example for us all. And he was walking through the hills in Greece, and he came along these crossroads, and on one path he saw this stunning goddess that promised him a life of luxury and everything his heart desired, and promised that he wouldn't experience any pain, fear, or unhappiness if he were to go that route. On the other path, he had another goddess that promised him, a less flashy option, less rewards, but and the rewards that he would get, he would have to earn himself. It was a longer path. It would require hard work, perseverance, sacrifice, and it would make him the person that he was meant to be. And that is what it means to walk that stoic path, and that's what it means to actually embody that one virtue of temperance, and to take on the mantle of discipline. And we all face that dilemma. Do you want to go towards the vice or the virtue? Do you want to take the easy road or the hard road? And we are always in that dilemma of take it easy, but you got to watch out for excesses, right? Because you can work yourself to death too if you don't have the right balance and discipline. And you need to find what smarter, not harder. And to me, that it was a great depiction, that vignette of the importance of discipline and how it relates to our life. And we are all of us are always facing those crossroads, trying to decide what we're going to do. And one of the cool things that he talked about was that discipline doesn't deprive you; it actually grants you freedom. And and that's really important to acknowledge. It helps you cut through the distractions. It helps you focus on what really matters, and then it helps you, and that is the tool that then gets you to the next level. So to me, that's a pretty cool aspect of this whole book. And like you said, there's a gazillion various vignettes and recommendations that Ryan brings up. Anything that I cued there for you? You want to jump on?
No, man, that was good. No, I was just thinking this morning, I was talking about the patriarch Isaac. God promises him this land, but this land is currently inhabited by people that don't believe like he believes and are overall hostile to him. And he ends up sowing in that land and reaping 100-fold, and kind of gets pushed out of that land and ends up in a valley. And he sends, this is in the book of Genesis 26:19. He ends up in a valley, and he sends his servants out to go dig in a valley, and they find a well of springing water. Kind of what Ryan Holiday talks about a lot, because he takes all these different examples from Queen Elizabeth to Marcus Aurelius, Antonius Aurelius,
George
like
Washington,
Hercules,
yeah.
And he's giving you all these different. To me, it's like a well-cut diamond, and there's just like 1,000 different cuts on it that make it shine. And these are the elements that reveal good character, that end up enabling you to leave a lasting legacy. And so he ends up digging in the valley. And what I challenged the men with this morning, before he even dug in the valley, it says he redug his father's wells. He redug the wells that his father had dug, that the Philistines had filled up. And when I look at the character of Cato, Marcus Aurelius, or things that he's highlighting in Queen Elizabeth, these are examples that we have to go off. It's a well that I can redig, meaning that even though these people lived, a thousand or more years or whatnot before me, I could redig that well and use that characteristic trait in my own life. And then he goes out, after he redug his father's wells, he goes into the valley, which in many sense, the valley is something you want to get through. You want to pass through it. And when I was talking to the guys about this morning, it's like, a lot of us are just doing time. We just want to get through our time. I get it. I've done 24 years of it. You're just trying to get through it. But sometimes when you're in that valley, what you need to do is you need to dig. There's a hidden resource underneath you. It's right underneath your feet, but you got to pull out the shovel and you got to do the work. A lot of us, kicking a bush is not going to get it done. Stomping on the ground is not going to get it done. Pouting or wishing my life would be better, or blaming somebody for the conditions of my life. What's going to get it done is work. And I know that's like a curse word to some, and it was for me in my younger years. But I like what Ryan Holiday is talking about. He's talking about the work that these people put in, whether it's Cato or the fable of Hercules, into developing their character. And what that character was, that was the well of springing water. In the story of Isaac, it was literal water, but it's also figuratively represented in the water of life. The joy that I have, the character that I can draw from to not only feed myself but to feed those around me. So I like Ryan Holiday's book. It ties into the Bible for me, and it just ties into many aspects of the man I'm aiming to be. I like how he writes. I'd like to meet him one day and give me a few pointers on how I could write a little bit better. I know Ben Hardy had that idea.
Hey, yeah, that is really good, because that just to double back on that, the most powerful is he who has himself in his own power. Okay, that's a Bible verse quoted by Seneca, and then it was also favored by General and President Eisenhower, because Eisenhower was definitely one of those that exhibited, the attributes of discipline, and he did that throughout his whole career. And talk about a stellar example. It makes me want to drive out to, his hometown. I think it's Aberdeen, Kansas, and go visit his library. And because that's a great individual in our, in the world and in our country, that made a difference. And his example was, he spent 30 years in the Army as a colonel until he was then, promoted up to a general level, and then he quickly got escalated to be, the commanding general, for the Normandy invasion, and then he flipped that into, then becoming president of the United States over the nuclear arsenal, and essentially the most powerful man in the whole world. But he didn't create any wars. He was very disciplined. He was actually, he gave the country a warning about, the defense industry, saying that that's going to be an animal in and of itself, and you got to, be concerned about it. What a great stellar example. And he resonated that, hey, your self-discipline actually gives you the power, gives you the freedom. And the cool thing about Ryan Hardy's book is he said the most important piece is, taking control of your body before it takes control of you. Lou Gehrig is the example that did that, because of how consistently he played baseball. And he wasn't necessarily a gifted athlete, but it was through his hard work and him honing and forging those physical attributes that took him to the next level of excellence. And enabling or following the discipline in the physical domain is what then enables you to open up discipline and excellence in the mental domain. Because if you're physically a wreck, then you're going to get distracted. You're not going to have the energy, to be able to do what you need to do in the mental arena. And so I think those are some key aspects that Ryan was pushing, as part of this book.
No, that was good. When you were talking about Eisenhower, because I think before we started, you were actually sharing some truths about how Special Forces training is, calm under chaos. You were sharing some of those virtues. When I think about someone like Eisenhower, he didn't become who he was by accident. It was through great intention. When I was just reading about Antonius Aurelius, and he was training Marcus Aurelius to be basically the next emperor, is that he was, he focused on his physical health. He wasn't given the medicine, wasn't always in the bathhouse. He wasn't given all these things that drug him down. He was a great emperor, not by accident, but through great intention. I'll become a great man, not by accident, but because how I pay attention to the details of my life, how I balance things in my life, how I establish my habits, my values, my priorities. That's the predecessor to greatness, is attention to the details. And I even think about you as a former Special Forces soldier, the level of your training, what you guys are able to do all around the world is because you're given to the details. You are comfortable suffering, and you've made that your master degree. So maybe you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's what the next aspect that I wanted to highlight. To achieve greatness or those higher levels of competence, you have to align your body, your mind, and your spirit, right? So I was highlighting earlier that it's really important to have the discipline of the body, because when you do that, then your body is an efficient and effective machine that then enables you to, use your mind to the higher levels. And then once you have your mind going, and you can critically think and problem solve, and you want to be able to think faster than the enemy, now you need to be able to have the discipline to manage your spirit. You can't be emotionally charged. You can't overreact. You can't suffer from fear. And the great example and you got to be able to deal with ambiguity and uncertainty and danger. And the example that Ryan Holiday highlighted, that he said the Stoics epitomized, being the ultimate aspect of temperance, was the charioteer, right? You got these guys on this little rickety little two-wheeled bucket right behind these big horses, and they have to be physically fit. They have to be mentally dialed in, because they're going over these cobblestone streets, going probably like 30-40 miles an hour, and they're going around sharp turns. So they got to physically, mentally be totally dialed in, and then they have to be able to maintain their fear and be calm, because the animals will pick up on it and they might freak out. You're probably going to bang into other horses and carts as you're racing. And the best charioteers had the epitome of discipline or temperance in all three aspects: mind, body, and spirit. And the funny thing is in the Army, it always resonated with me, the whole trinity of the Army had of be, know, and do, right? Be, that's that spirit, that's that soul force. Know, that's your mind, that's your thinking abilities. And then doing is the aspect of the physical. And it's being able to develop and be disciplined in those three spaces that can really take you to the next level.
Man, that's good. Great discussion. Ryan Holiday's book, Discipline is Destiny. We're going to do Courage is Calling. We're going to do the whole Ryan Holiday journey. And I just really like this guy's books. I'll probably give this to someone around here to read after I'm done. But yeah, fantastic book, man. Enjoy talking to you today, cousin. Love you. And go Chiefs. You guys did good last time. My team, Seattle Seahawks, they're out of the mix. So you're the last horse in the race for us.
Yep.
So, man, I love you. And like I said, this book was a joy. And I hope you guys listening got something out of it. And we want to know about your discipline. So make sure to reach out to us at Colonel and Convict at email. Is that what it is?
Yep. ColonelAndConvict.com is where you can find us. And yep, self-awareness of your discipline is one of the key, is a cornerstone, to becoming your best self. And it's great to see you, Drew. I love you. Have a great day.
Love you, man. Till next time. Another book.
All right.
Another book, another video.